The unspoken truths of old age. What we shouldn't tell our children. As parents, our lives are deeply intertwined with the well-being and growth of our children, often to the point where our happiness and sense of accomplishment are tied directly to theirs. From the moment they are born, we dedicate ourselves to their care, education, and future, sacrificing our own desires and ambitions to ensure they are well equipped to navigate life's challenges. This bond is sacred and unbreakable, filled with love, devotion, and countless memories. However, as we grow older and enter the later stages of life, it is crucial to understand that certain thoughts and feelings are better left unspoken, particularly when it comes to our children. Sharing every burden, regret, or grievance can inadvertently place an emotional strain on our children, causing them to carry the weight of our past and present. The delicate balance between open communication and restraint becomes increasingly important as we age. While it's natural to want to share our experiences, especially with those closest to us, there are certain truths that are best kept to ourselves. This article will explore 4 key things that we should avoid telling our children as we age, along with several additional insights into how to navigate the complex dynamics of family relationships in later life. By choosing our words carefully and recognizing the power of silence, we can foster healthier, more supportive relationships with our children and ultimately live out our golden years with greater peace and contentment. 1. Avoid blaming your parents for your circumstances. One of the most pervasive and harmful behaviours we can engage in as we age is to blame our parents for the circumstances of our lives. It's all too easy to look back on the choices they made or didn't make, and to attribute our own hardships to their perceived failings. Perhaps you've thought to yourself, if only my father had worked harder, I would have had a better start in life. Or, if my mother had been more ambitious, I could have gone to a better school or had more opportunities. These thoughts, though natural at times, are not only unproductive, but also damaging to our own sense of agency and self-worth. When we express these grievances to our children, we send the message that it's acceptable to hold resentment toward one's parents, which can create a generational cycle of blame and dissatisfaction. Our children may begin to question our own choices and wonder why we didn't do more to provide for them or offer them a better life. This cycle of blame serves no one and ultimately prevents us from finding peace with our past and accepting the life we have lived. It's important to recognise that every generation faces its own unique set of challenges. Our parents did the best they could with the resources, knowledge and opportunities available to them at the time. Blaming them for the hardships we've faced only robs us of the opportunity to take responsibility for our own lives and to learn from their experiences. By accepting that our parents were imperfect just as we are, we free ourselves from the burden of resentment and teach our children the value of personal accountability. Furthermore, when we model forgiveness and acceptance toward our parents, we encourage our children to do the same with us. Life is full of uncertainties and challenges, and no parent can provide a perfect upbringing. By showing our children that it's possible to love and respect our parents despite their flaws, we help them develop a more compassionate and balanced perspective on their own lives and relationships. 2. Never speak ill of your spouse. Marriage is a complex and ever-evolving partnership filled with moments of joy, hardship, compromise and growth. After decades of living with another person, it's natural to have accumulated some grievances or disappointments along the way. Perhaps there were moments when you felt unsupported, misunderstood, or even unappreciated by your spouse. These feelings are valid, but it's important to recognise the potential harm in voicing these frustrations to your children, especially in old age. Many parents, particularly as they grow older, fall into the habit of speaking negatively about their spouse in front of their children. You might hear phrases like, "I wasted my best years with your father," or, "If only I had married someone else, my life would have been so different." These kinds of statements can be deeply unsettling for children, regardless of their age. Even adult children can feel torn between their love for both parents and their discomfort with hearing one parent speak ill of the other. When parents criticize each other in front of their children, it can create confusion and emotional conflict. Children may begin to question the foundation of their family and wonder if the love and stability they once believed in were ever truly real. Moreover, they may feel pressure to take sides, even if no explicit request is made. This can lead to strained relationships and unresolved tension that lingers long after the conversation has ended. It's important to remember that your spouse is not just your partner, but also your children's other parent. By speaking kindly of your spouse, even in moments of frustration or disappointment, you model respect, empathy, and understanding for your children. Rather than focusing on the negative aspects of your relationship, try to highlight the positive qualities and shared experiences that have shaped your family. For example, you might say, "Your father wasn't always the most ambitious, but he loved you all deeply and worked hard to provide for us." Or, "Your mother may have had her flaws, but she always put her family first." By offering a balanced perspective on your spouse, you teach your children that relationships are complex and multifaceted. No one is perfect, and every partnership requires patience, compromise, and forgiveness. In doing so, you help your children develop a healthier and more realistic understanding of love and commitment, which will serve them well in their own relationships. 3. Do not compare your children to each other. Sibling rivalry is a common and natural part of growing up, but it can be exacerbated by parental comparisons. As parents, it's tempting to compare one child to another, especially when one seems to be more successful, responsible, or accomplished than the other. You might think to yourself, "At least my daughter is doing well, my son is always struggling," or, "If only my younger child were more like their older sibling." While these thoughts may be understandable, expressing them aloud can have devastating consequences for your children's self-esteem and their relationships with each other. When parents compare their children, they create an environment of competition and resentment. The child who is praised may feel undue pressure to maintain their status, while the child who is criticized may feel inadequate or unloved. Over time, these feelings can fester and lead to deep-seated emotional wounds that are difficult to heal. Siblings who feel unfairly compared may begin to distance themselves from each other, and the once close bond between brothers and sisters can be irreparably damaged. It's important to remember that every child is unique, with their own strengths, weaknesses, and path in life. No two children will have the same experiences or achieve the same milestones at the same time, and that's perfectly okay. As parents, our role is not to pit our children against each other, but to celebrate their individuality and support them in their own personal journeys. Instead of focusing on what one child has that the other lacks, take the time to acknowledge each child's strengths and accomplishments. For example, you might say, "I'm so proud of how hard you've worked to achieve your goals," or "I admire your creativity and the way you approach challenges." By offering genuine praise and encouragement to each child, you foster a sense of self-worth and confidence that will help them navigate life's challenges with resilience and determination. Moreover, by avoiding comparisons, you create an environment of love and acceptance within the family. Siblings who feel supported and valued for who they are, rather than for how they measure up to each other, are more likely to maintain close, supportive relationships throughout their lives. This sense of unity and mutual respect will serve them well as they navigate adulthood and face the inevitable challenges that come with growing older. 4. Don't dwell on the negative aspects of life. As we age, it's easy to focus on the hardships that accompany growing older. Our bodies no longer function as they once did, and we may face health issues, financial challenges, or the loss of loved ones. These struggles are a natural part of the aging process, but constantly dwelling on them can create a negative and pessimistic outlook on life that affects not only us, but also those around us, particularly our children. When we constantly express our frustrations and complaints about aging, we risk instilling fear and anxiety in our children. They may begin to view old age as something to dread rather than a natural stage of life that can still be filled with joy, purpose, and fulfillment. Moreover, constantly focusing on the negative can prevent us from appreciating the beauty and blessings that still exist in our lives. Even in old age, life at any stage is a mixture of good and bad. There are still many wonderful experiences to be had, from the joy of watching grandchildren grow to the satisfaction of reflecting on a life well lived. By choosing to focus on the positive aspects of life, we can create an atmosphere of gratitude and contentment that enriches not only our own lives, but also the lives of those around us. This doesn't mean ignoring the challenges of aging or pretending that everything is perfect. It's important to acknowledge the difficulties we face, but we must also strive to find the silver lining in every situation. For example, instead of focusing on physical limitations, we might express gratitude for the knowledge and wisdom we've gained over the years. Instead of lamenting the loss of youth, we can appreciate the peace and serenity that comes with maturity. By maintaining a positive outlook on life, we set an example for our children that happiness and fulfillment are possible at any age. We teach them that life is not defined by the challenges we face, but by how we choose to respond to them. This mindset of resilience and optimism will serve them well as they navigate their own lives and face the inevitable ups and downs that come with growing older. 5. Do not depend financially on your children. As we transition into old age, our financial circumstances may change, and it's natural to worry about how we will support ourselves. However, one of the greatest gifts we can give our children is the freedom to live their own lives without the burden of financial responsibility for their parents. While it's perfectly acceptable to receive help from our children when needed, relying on them too heavily can strain the parent-child relationship and create feelings of guilt or obligation. Financial dependence can also shift the dynamic between parents and children in unhealthy ways. Children who feel obligated to support their parents financially may experience resentment or frustration, particularly if they are also trying to support their own families or build their own careers. Moreover, parents who rely too heavily on their children may begin to feel a loss of independence and self-worth, which can lead to feelings of helplessness or inadequacy. To avoid these challenges, it's important to plan for the future as much as possible. This might involve saving for retirement, investing in long-term care insurance, or seeking financial advice to ensure that you are prepared for the later stages of life. By taking proactive steps to secure your financial independence, you can maintain your dignity and preserve the natural balance of the parent-child relationship. Of course, there may be times when financial help is necessary, and it's okay to ask for assistance when needed. However, it's important to approach these situations with openness and transparency, discussing your needs and expectations with your children in a way that respects their own financial situation and boundaries. By doing so, you can ensure that any financial support is given out of love and care rather than obligation or guilt. 6. Do not disclose every health struggle. As we grow older, health becomes an increasingly important concern, with more frequent doctor visits, medical procedures, and health-related worries. While it's important to share critical health information with your children, it's equally important to strike a balance between honesty and discretion. Constantly talking about every ailment, discomfort, or fear can overwhelm your children emotionally and create a sense of helplessness. Your children care deeply about your well-being, and hearing about every health struggle can be emotionally taxing, particularly if there's little they can do to help. They may begin to feel anxious or stressed about your health, which can strain their own mental and emotional well-being. Moreover, constantly focusing on your health problems can shift the focus of your relationship, turning it into one centered around caregiving and worry rather than love and connection. It's important to share significant health updates with your children, especially if they need to be involved in your care or decision-making process. However, for minor issues or everyday discomforts, consider whether it's truly necessary to share every detail. Instead, focus on maintaining a positive outlook and reassuring your children that you are managing your health to the best of your ability. By balancing honesty with discretion, you can protect your children from unnecessary worry and allow them to focus on the more positive aspects of your relationship. At the same time, you can preserve your own sense of independence and strength, showing your children that you are capable of facing life's challenges with resilience and grace. 7. Always encourage their independence. One of the greatest gifts you can give your children as they grow older is the freedom to live their own lives without guilt or obligation. As parents, it's natural to want to remain close to our children, particularly as we age and face the prospect of loneliness or declining health. However, it's important to remember that our children have their own lives, families, and responsibilities, and it's essential to respect their independence. Encouraging your children to pursue their own goals and dreams, even if it means they are less available to you, is a sign of trust and love. It shows that you believe in their ability to navigate life's challenges and that you support their decisions, even when they differ from your own. By giving them the space to live their own lives, you allow them to flourish and grow, free from the weight of your expectations or needs. This doesn't mean that you should distance yourself from your children or refrain from seeking their help when needed. Rather, it's about finding a balance between maintaining a close, supportive relationship and respecting their autonomy. By fostering a relationship built on mutual respect and understanding, you can ensure that your children will always feel loved and supported without feeling burdened by your needs. Conclusion. Wisdom in silence. In the later stages of life, the things we choose not to say often carry more weight than the words we speak. Silence can be a powerful tool, a way to preserve relationships, foster positivity, and protect the ones we love from unnecessary pain. While it's natural to want to share our burdens with our children, it's important to recognize that some things are better left unsaid. By holding back on certain criticisms, grievances, or negative thoughts, we allow our children to navigate life with optimism, respect, and a sense of responsibility for their own futures. As we age, we have the opportunity to lead by example, showing that grace, wisdom, and understanding come from within. Through our actions and words, or the lack thereof, we guide the next generation toward a more compassionate, fulfilling life, free from the weight of past regrets and unspoken resentments. By choosing silence in the right moments, we give our children the space to grow, to learn, and to face the world with strength and courage. Thank you for listening. Goodbye, and see you next time. If you found these stories inspiring and they motivated you to take action, please comment yes. If not, comment no. Your feedback means a lot to us. Thank you for taking the time to respond.